going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Videohomicide, back with another movie review / recommendation. Today we're going to go back to the year 2016 to take a look at a film directed by Rob Zombie, and that film is 31. Now, I'll be the first to admit, when this movie came out, I was not the biggest fan of it. You know, I talked my fair bit of shit about this film and claimed it was like the shittiest of the Rob Zombie films. To me, it's sort of like the Planet Terror of the Quentin Tarantino films, you know what I mean? Because I think it was Planet Terror that he did. One of those grindhouse films, like, to me, that's Tarantino's weakest film. And for when this film first came out, 31, when it first came out, I thought that it was, among the weaker installments. And, that was pretty much how my opinion stood for a long time. So recently, I've sort of gotten back into, really sort of diving into the history of Rob Zombie in terms of his films and even his music to some degree. I've been really kind of digging into that. It's not everything I enjoy, but a lot of it I think is pretty all right in terms of the music. Again, I'm sort of new to like the that type of music. I've been a lifelong 90s rap fan, EPMD, DOS Effects, Wu-Tang, of course, DMX, Jadakiss, D-Block, like all like the Locks, I meant to say, like all that stuff is what I basically grew up on. So like getting into like Motorhead and getting into fucking Metallica, Black Sabbath, I had dipped my toes into as a kid because my dad obviously listened to that kind of stuff. But Death and all these sort of like really heavy bands, Mayhem, different bands like that. Mayhem is a band that I first discovered through the film Lords of Chaos, which I think is a phenomenal film. It's a really interesting story about what was going on with that band, and I recommend checking it out. But that turned me on to like that whole subgenre of metal. But getting back to 31, I think the reason that I wasn't the biggest fan of this one is because it kind of played on some other movies' tropes at the time. Like, I'm pretty sure one of the Hostel films was, sort of, I remember kind of comparing it to one of those Hostel flicks. It might have been the third one, I think, where they're sort of having like this auctioning happening as the people are being killed and all that stuff. There was parts of it that kind of reminded me of Devil's Rejects. It's like the traveling band of musicians in Devil's Rejects could have very well been the traveling band of like carnival workers or whatever the fuck they're supposed to be. I think they're carnival workers. So it's basically like roll the dice, like this one goes here, that one goes there, something happens to both of them. But basically the story of 31 is this traveling group of carnival workers. They end up on this dark, desolate road one night where there's all these like scarecrow, almost like in House of a Thousand Corpses when they go to leave and they see the scarecrows on either side of the vehicle, and it's really Otis and Tiny or Tiny, I believe, or RJ or Rufus Jr. or whoever the fuck it was. But they get sort of ransacked and some of them get killed like during this mix. One thing that's interesting to point out is these bandits that come and sort of steal our carnival workers. They're dressed up like total cliche Christmas Story fucking, Black Bart from Christmas Story, like those bad guys. They're in like the striped shirts with, like the little shitty masks. Like that's how they're dressed. And I'm pretty sure I've heard Rob Zombie mention that that's what he was going for. So if so, I applaud you. I love that. Say what you want about this film, say what you want about Rob Zombie, but his films all look fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like Captain Spaulding's place, for instance. Who wouldn't want to check that place out? You know what I mean? It's fucking cool. And, even like the van they're driving, like everything, like all of the little, when they go to this little shitty gas station, there's all these like Halloween decorations, but they're so like they're not from the dollar store of today. You know what I mean? Like it's all sort of stuff that was more than likely made for the film, but definitely rooted in like 70s, 60s, and 70s Halloween display. Like even when we call upon our character Doomhead, who's the Richard Brake character, who's the best part of the film as far as I'm concerned. He comes into, first of all, when he's first introduced, or like it's kind of his second introduction, he's fucking this broad and at the same time he's watching Nosferatu on the TV, and he's just like getting more and more wild as like the more fucking twisted the film gets. I thought that was awesome. I did not remember that scene at all. Really like that. Doomhead actually ends up dressed like Nosferatu. You know what I mean? Like if you've seen it, you might know what I'm talking about. But our opening of the film, before I get to, I want to mention as much of the stuff that really stuck out to me as possible. But the beginning of the film, we get the scene basically where Richard Brake's character Doomhead walks towards the camera and he kills a priest with an axe. But it's all of the banter right beforehand. And I know that this film came out right around the time as that one fucking Batman Joker, whatever the fuck it was. It had in the trailer, I remember the Joker was like up close, like talking to the camera, white face, greasy as fuck looking, and like contrast that or compare that right to 31. It's sort of like, people are going to go see this Batman film more than they're going to see Rob Zombie's film. Let's just face it. But, I feel like Rob Zombie was sort of robbed of that. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that was such a amazing scene, and like to have it sort of be just either stolen or not blatantly stolen, but just happen to exist around the same time. I just feel like it snags that, like the intensity. There's like it's an intense scene, but I feel like, not for me personally, but this is just something that I remember from back then. But I feel like people that knew that Batman film, that had watched it and all that shit, were gonna be like, oh, this is like the Joker, like that fucking Joker guy. I don't even remember who played Joker in that film. I never seen it because, I don't watch dog shit. I watch movies like 31. All right, but like again, our Doomhead character, he's this very greasy guy, and tells the story about I forget who he was talking about, but he said whoever that guy was, he smoked a pipe, but he said, I didn't want to smoke a pipe. I felt like it'd be too pretentious, because like this Doomhead guy is not a dumb fuck. He's like clearly intelligent. Love him. The way he lives is like, for the amount of money he probably has, like I could assume it's a lot, because one thing I forgot to mention is Malcolm McDowell plays like the guy that's running this whole murder game. So basically our band of lost carnival workers, they get thrown into this game where they have to survive for 12 hours against these murderous clown types. So one of them is like a midget dressed as a Nazi who's speaking Spanish, that's doing some work with these fucking like Hitler youth knives and just going to town killing motherfuckers. But he ends up getting his fucking whole head smashed in. And our next batch of killers, and our people, they go one at a time. Basically, they're dying one at a time. Our next batch of killers is actually, I forget what his name is, but he was the one orderly from Halloween. Lou Temple is his name. He plays the one like rapist security guard from the mental institution in Halloween from 2007, the Rob Zombie one, of course. Him and this other guy, they play like a pair of brother clowns that have chainsaws, and they kick ass. Like it's a total Rob Zombie like a thon, basically. It's all of like the most graphic scenes of a Rob Zombie film, like tossed into a game show, if that makes sense. And even like when Richard Brake, because no one's able to kill all these fucking carnival workers, so they end up calling in Doomhead. And when he gets there, he goes into like his room with all of his weapons and stuff, and like the painting on the door is so fucking cool, and probably was painted by Rob Zombie himself. I know in House of a Thousand Corpses, in the Museum of Monsters and Madmen, there's a doorway that's like, it's hard to describe, but I think it's like some type of demon painting, like a green demon painting on like a red background, I believe, a red or yellow background. It's very much like that, and that fucking very painting I'm talking about is in Rob Zombie's house. If you've watched his episode of Cribs, although that episode of Cribs with Rob Zombie, like, I feel like he would have way more stuff everywhere. I don't know. But Sherry Moon Zombie is great in this film. All of the carnival workers are pretty good. Jeff Daniel, I believe, isn't it? Jeff Daniel Phillips. He was the guy that played the warden in Three from Hell, and I believe he was also in Lords of Salem, which is another great film, which I feel like I just saw the other day. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I seen it on the shelf here. And I was like, oh yeah, Lords of Salem. That's fucking awesome. But anyways, I'm still working on the alphabet bullshit of this. I'm currently stuck actually on... Oh, there it is. Lords of Salem. Yeah, Jeff Phillips is the guy's name. So he plays a pretty cool guy. I forget what his name was, but you know, he's fine, and the so-called Jamaican guy, he's fine. The other black dude that was like worried about his hair receding, he's in Three from Hell as well. He plays the other prison guard, or the guy that gets fucking shot on that couch there. He dies on the couch, I believe, during the early parts of that film. But I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this movie this time, man. Honestly, I take back a lot of the bullshit I said, especially like, you know, a movie that I pretty much only saw. I don't think I ever watched it more than once. Saw it when it came out, and then I was like, not really for me. And now I'm like, dude, I'm glad I was able to check it out. It's actually on YouTube in its entirety. There's only like a few little fuck ups right at the ass end of that version, but if you want to watch it, you can watch it for free. The video's been up for 8 years, the whole movie, so check that shit out. I'm sure there's probably an uncut, unrated version of the film that's out there on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, which I would definitely pick up if I could find for an affordable price. Again, I'm not really actively collecting movies right now unless it's something that really blows me away. Like the other day, me and my wife were at a thrift store, and I spotted Belly 2 with the game, and that movie sucks so much dick, and I like had it in my hand, and I was like, am I gonna watch this again? Like, am I just buying it because like because it's I like the game, and like the movie is like, it's so, like, comparing it to Belly, you know what I mean? Like calling it Belly 2, that's like calling Sharknado Jaws 2. You know what I mean? Like, it's I couldn't believe it. I actually watched Belly last night for the first time in years. Love the film, still looks amazing, love everything about it. One of the scenes that always sticks out, the one scene I always forget, is the scene in Belly where they're in Jamaica and DMX dressed up as this like Rasta, like fucking panhandler basically, and he shoots that guy with the feathers in his head, and that sort of like sparks the demise of Ox and like basically the fall of their entire empire. But and that kid's name was Sosa, I believe his name was Sosa, which is hilarious because Sosa is obviously Alex Sosa from Scarface. He's the shot caller basically. But we're going all over the place on this fucking review, but I recommend, if you have not seen 31 since back then, you had mixed feelings back then, check this shit out now. Maybe I need to do the same thing with Planet Terror, because like I said, I compared this to that. Like and even so, like looking at the Rob Zombie, pyramid of films, basically, like to me, Devil's Rejects is pretty much the top, and then House of a Thousand Corpses, and then probably Three from Hell, and then Halloween 1, 2, Lords of Salem. Like, it pretty much goes like... This movie's still pretty much at the bottom of the totem pole for me. I still haven't seen The Munsters yet, so I guess that technically is the bottom. And one film that I always forget that he made this, and I'm due to watch it. Good luck finding it right now, though. The movie I'm talking about is The Haunted World of El Super Beasto, which... Oh, there it is right there. If you've not seen this, check this shit out. It's his animated film. I don't know how much he had to do with the the character design and stuff, but I assume he has a bit, because I've recently been working on this Beavis and Butthead comic, and the cover of it is an homage to the peyote trip in Do America, Beavis and Butthead Do America. So I've been watching that, and I've been listening to interviews and stuff, and I guess Rob Zombie just basically submitted a bunch of sketches in what Mike Judge describes as like a Ed Roth style, Ed Big Daddy Roth style, but like new, like updated and new in a way. But like if you don't know who Big Daddy Roth is, he's the creator of Rat Fink, which is one of like the most you know, iconic images, especially if you're, you know, if you're in hot rods, you definitely know who the fuck Ratfink is. If you know about art, you probably know who Ratfink is. This is a really good collection of art by Johnny Ace and Cali Vera. So this is not exactly Ed Roth's art, but it's all art, you know, based off like Ratfink and stuff, and just different really badass images. Electric Frankenstein was this. I guess it was like I don't know if it was a movie theater or an event that was happening, but I have a book somewhere on the oh my god, I actually found it right here, called Electric Frankenstein, that I picked up for $4. This has got a bunch, some stuff's even cut out, but that didn't bother me, because I was like, there's way too much badass like Frankenstein stuff in here to not get it. I'm obviously a big fan of Frankenstein, but killer stuff right here, man. Like, this is, you know, sort of during my golden age of like thrift storing and all that stuff, and finding just like really badass shit for cheap, which seems to like not be the case anymore. There's so many douchebags out there, like, just in there buying all the fucking Tommy Hilfiger shirts, and like, it's not just the Tommy Hilfiger shirts, but like everything. Like, they're snooping through. I see like fucking weasels going through like the VHS tapes. It's like, dude, it's like, fuck, man. And you know what's crazy is the other day I hit a fucking I hit a lick, as they say, but I didn't buy anything because I had it all. I seen what the fuck's it called, Better Tomorrow 2 on VHS, was John Woo, and what the fuck else was it? Reservoir Dogs was one, but there was another horror film, like Freddy 5 or something like that. Like, there was a Freddy Krueger film in the wild at a thrift store. I haven't seen one in so fucking long. I was like, nice, I already got it. That Better Tomorrow, dude, I almost grabbed that shit, but then I was like, nope, got it. I got that shit on DVD. I don't need it on tape. That's the thing, man. Like, even still, I'm still going through my collection and downsizing and stuff. Taking stuff off the wall, being like, hey, is this gonna go to my dad's, or is this gonna just fucking get donated, or what the fuck? Because I do not have the need to have a million fucking movies where 900,000 of them I don't give a shit about. You know what I mean? I want this to all be stuff I love, and pretty much it all is, but there's stuff peppered throughout, you know? So I guess we'll leave it at that. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure you leave a 666 in the comments, and with that being said, adios.